Hello. Welcome to Cliniversity.
And the second one is case control study. So case and control. Okay. So case and control means control is of two types. One is positive control, one is negative control. Positive control means you might be giving the standard drug, and negative control means you might be giving a dummy. Okay. So you're taking the batch, or you're selecting the people from, let us take from um, any city, like it is from Hyderabad. You're taking 100 people, okay, who are having the same sort of disease, and they are experiencing the same sort of disease, and you will be giving the same type of treatment. And that treatment also, how you're going to give, because I told you here, if you're giving the same treatment, then it comes under cohort. But here we will divide that 100 people into 50-50. Okay, all the 100 people were suffering from same disease, and we divided them into 50 and 50, A and B. And then one group is taken as the case, and we are giving them the drug that we have invented. And to the other group of people, we are going to give a dummy. That means placebo. Or else you're giving a standard drug. Okay. And now you're doing the comparison between both of them. So the people who took the newly invented drug, and the other set of people who took a dummy placebo or already existing standard drug. And you will do the comparison between both the groups. Okay. That complete 100 group of people, they are receiving different types of drugs, but they are under the same diseased condition. And now you're going to compare between both of them. So this complete case control study is being helpful for us to eliminate the bias, because the 100 people were suffering from the same disease, and half of the people were given a standard and completely proven drug, and the half of the people were given the newly invented drug. So if our drug is efficient and safer than the standard drug, we can easily get the permission for marketing. And if it is not so effective and not so safer, we won't get marketing approval. Or else equally efficient and equally safe also, we can reduce the price and we can sell it in the market. So this is how we are going to perform the case control study. And third one is cross-sectional study. Cross-sectional study means you're gathering the information. Okay, we are taking a number of cases, and you're going to check a quick and an easy method. Okay, so they have exposed to some drug and what is an outcome. And you'll be taking a other group of people who are not exposed to the drug and what is the outcome. Okay, and in the third case, you will be taking the people who have exposed to the drug and exposed to the disease, what is an outcome. And in the fourth case, they have not exposed to the disease, but they have received the drug, what is the outcome. So you will carry out all the possible ways and outcome. You will be taking the group of people and selecting, randomly dividing them into the different batches. Some might having the disease equally, some might not having the disease, some might be having the disease and receive the drug, some might be not having the disease and not taking the drug. So you will calculate all the parameters, and you're going to find the efficient way, what might be the main reason for the disease and how effectively the drug was being done. Okay, so that is cross-sectional survey, and it is a very quick and very easy. And if you want to identify the relationship between the cause and the effect, cause and the outcome, so the cross-sectional survey is the best thing. So the trial and error process can be easily done, and we can get a best answer if you do a cross-sectional survey. And coming to the case report, and you all very familiar with this case reports, right? You will be taking single case, okay, and you'll be taking a group of people, and you will identify what is the relationship, and that to unexpected relationship between the disease and the symptoms. Okay, what are the common effects that everyone knows? You will identify the unexpected association. So if you're finding out the unexpected associations between the disease and symptom, if you want to know what are the, so that particular unidentified association when comes to the COVID found that the incubation period is different for different individuals, and the children were not showing any symptoms. And if the mother is having a COVID, there is a chances because of the viral particle, the child also might get. If the mother is a pregnant mother, the child also is having a chance of getting COVID. So these are all the unexpected associations that we have learned based on the case report. So case report means always expecting and always trying out to figure unexpected associations between the diseases and symptoms. And coming to the cross-sectional survey, you're going to find out the cause and effect. And coming to the case control studies, you're going to divide the population into different groups and you're going to investigate different characteristics, all the possibilities. And coming to the cohort study, you're going to divide the people who are under common condition into the different batches and you're going to identify the data, which is very expensive. So I hope you are clear with the cohort, case control, cross-sectional, and case report. Whereas coming to the clinical trial, so we call it as randomized controlled clinical trial, so which is a very safer and effective way, right? We will be doing a phase 1 clinical trial, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. Before doing this clinical trial, definitely we would have done a preclinical studies. There we found the drug is efficient and safer. And now we are going to check it on the human beings. So what happens in the phase 1? We'll be taking a small group of healthy people. That means less than 100 healthy individuals will take and will check how safer the particular dose ranges, what are the side effects that you're observing in that healthy individuals, and you're going to focus on the dose, safety, and side effects in the phase 1. And when it comes to the phase 2, you'll increase the population size to 100 to few hundreds. Okay. And this small group is taken the person who's actually having a disease and will be checking how the drug is showing its effectiveness in phase 2. Okay. In phase 1, healthy. In phase 2, the people who are having the condition or the disease and you're giving the drug. And in the phase 1, you're taking few hundreds, sorry, less than 100. And whereas coming to the phase 2, you're taking the people from hundreds to few, 100 to few hundreds. And coming to the phase 3, you're taking a larger group of people and confirming that yes, the drug is very effective, and you're going to take a target population. Like if you're working on an anti-diabetic drug, you're checking on the people who are having diabetes. Okay. And the population size also increases from few hundreds to few thousands. And you'll take different individuals like children, younger people, elder people, women, and the people who are suffering from diseases and other diseases, and check how the drug is affecting on the different groups of people. And in the phase 4, you'll be getting a marketing approval by applying for NDA, and it will reach the market, and we don't know how many people based on their necessity they are receiving the drug. Okay. So this is what happening in the clinical trials. So whereas all this, whatever we have learned regarding the clinical research, the types of clinical research, how this clinical research is different from the standard care and different study designs. So this is a basic thing. Even if you don't know anything, at least you should have a proper knowledge on this if you want to become a medical writer. The rest of all, you should have a thorough knowledge, but this concepts should be a must-have knowledge for you. Okay. And apart from this, you have to do a basic homework on pharmacology. Okay. All the medical terms, concepts, data, everything you should have a good familiarity with. So moving on to the main content of the medical writing in the clinical research. So I hope all the concepts that we have learned so far regarding the clinical research was clear to you all. Yes. Any questions regarding the topic that we have covered previously? Yes. Any questions? Very good, Saujanya. Good answer. Any questions, guys?
Ma'am, will you please explain me one thing one more time? Single center studies and multiple center studies.
Very good. So see, single center study. Single center study means due to our unavailability or due to the financial issues or due to the practical issues, if we are recruiting the entire people, everyone, if we do have, see, phase one means we want to recruit 100 people, and if we are moving to phase two, that 100 will convert into few hundreds, and if it is phase three, it will have to convert into few thousands of people. So recruiting, if we do have a place for handling some thousands of people, say let us say 5,000 population, for 5,000 population the staff and the personnel that we need will be like 1,000 staff, total of 6,000 people, and we have to arrange them the building, equipment, infrastructure, food, water facility, sewage, drainage, and laboratory, everything. If you can recruit at one place and you can do a clinical trial at that one single place, then it comes as a single center clinical trial. Okay, but in the entire India we can't find such a big place, right? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And the rent we need to pay, or the transportation facility, or the water facility, or drainage facility, it is practically impossible. We can't recruit such a place. For some years we are going to do the clinical trial center. Okay, so it's practically impossible. So what we are doing, we are dividing the entire this particular 5,000 people into small populations, and we are dividing to the small clinical trial centers where we have got a place. So I got Pune, I will place some few hundreds of people there, and I got one place in Hyderabad, I'll recruit some people there, in Chennai, in Bangalore, okay, in Rajasthan, in Gujarat. But all these people were working under the same objective, the same procedure, the same drug, the same experimentation. But because of the financial conditions, or because of this practical conditions, or because of this financial issues, and because of this crisis of the water or food or equipment or anything, I have divided them into small clinical trial centers, but they're working under same motto. So this particular arrangement is called as a multi-center clinical trial center. It is having different centers. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
very good. Now, any questions? Because we are moving on to the main content, that is medical writing. Don't have any. If you do have any questions, you can clear it off right now. Yes. Do all the phases are handled by the same individual involved in the phase one? No, 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 no. No. We do have different staff, and different staff works on different phases, and there will be different work plans, different experts. For the phase one, we have one group of staff, and the phase two will have the different group of people, phase three, phase four. Okay. And this particular 100 people, the healthy individuals, which we are taking into the phase one, some people who are having an eligibility criterion will enter into a phase two. If they are not having that eligibility criterion, they will be removed. Not all the people enter into the phase one, or not all the people will remove from phase one. After doing the complete experimentation, we'll get to know like who are moving on to the phase one and who are disposing. Okay. Yes, very nice questions, Sakshi. Very good. Still any questions? Okay, shall we move into the main content of medical writing? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. So you can unmute your call for giving your reply. There is no problem in that. Don't hesitate for giving the answers. Even yes or a no will help me. So moving on to the medical writing and the clinical research, everyone please uh, concentrate on the topic. It's very easy and very interesting topic, the medical writing and the clinical research. So what is medical writing? So medical writing is an activity where we are producing the scientific documents with the help of a specialized writer. Okay, so what is this producing a scientific documents? I already told you. So this science, not all the different branches of science, this science is only related to the medicine and healthcare. Okay, so if you are creating the documentation which is related to the medicine and healthcare, ma'am, why to produce the documentation? It is not our duty. We are nowhere involved in the experimentation. We are nowhere involved in the research. We are nowhere. How we'll produce the scientific documents? Okay, we are not creating the documents. Okay, the document is already existing in the form of raw data. Okay, so that raw data, if we are giving to a normal individual, okay, because he don't have any knowledge regarding the medicine and healthcare, he can't understand. The normal lay people, they don't understand the medical terminology and the concepts. Okay, it's very tough for them to understand. So medical writing is a process where we are converting that tougher information, that complex information, that an abstract way of information into a standard way, into a very detailed way, into an easily understandable way, into an efficient way, into a clear way, so that a larger group of audience can simply understand the document. So the person who is doing this type of conversion is called as a medical writer. And the process of converting the tough information into an easier way, this particular process is called as medical writing. Understood now? So science means not all the branches of science. Medical writers were the people who are working only on medicine and healthcare related documents. That's it. Okay? Understood? Is that clear for you all? What is medical writing and what is medical writer?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. So moving on to the medical writer. So if a doctor want to be a medical writer, he is always welcome. If a scientist who directly or indirectly involved in the research, if he want to become a medical writer, he is always welcome. But that is of a higher qualification. Ma'am, if we want to become a medical writer, should we be a scientist or should we have to be a doctor and finish our MBBS or the other forms of medicine and come back to become a medical writer? No need. They can also become a medical writer, which is of a top qualification, because that would be very easier for them to become a medical writer because they're dealing with all the medicine and healthcare related documentations only. That would be very easy for them. But any person can become a medical writer. Who is that any person? He should have a familiarity with medical terms and he should be from a scientific background, or he should be like any of the medical or a paramedical courses or any of the professional courses like pharmacy. He is from a scientific background, and if he is having a good knowledge on pharmacology, and he is having a good knowledge on the clinical research, and he is having a good knowledge over all the concepts and terminology, and he is having a good communication skills, so that he can present a tougher information into an easily understandable way. Because medical writing is not always writing, guys, it's speaking also. You have to communicate with different group of people who are coming from different parts of India or international students, and you should be easily helping out to understand the concepts. Okay, if you do have all these qualities, you can happily become a medical writer. But our intention is, we might not reach every person. Like if there are 100 people, we can't impress all the 100 people. That's a nightmare. Don't try to impress or don't try to get into all the 100 people. You will mess up everything. But what is our target? When you are doing a documentation, your target is to reach maximum proportion of audience, highest percentage of audience. And if you are reaching a highest, if I am a medical writer, the converted document of mine is understandable by, like, out of 100, 80% of the audience, they clearly understood. And the rest of 20, they haven't understood only. But you have prepared the document which is reaching a 95% of audience. So you are a better medical writer than me. Simple. Okay. So this particular medical writer, he can become a medical writer if he's having a good educational qualification, which is from a science or a medicine background, and if he's having a good knowledge enough, and he has a good communication skills, and he can reach out a lot more audience, highest proportion of the audience, then he can happily become a medical writer, and he is most welcome to the medical writing stream. So he has to follow some standards. So ethical standards, we call it as ethics. What is this ethics? So every individual who's going through the document, they are believing the document 200%. So if you're involved in a research, sometimes directly or indirectly, you have to follow the research ethics. If you're involved in the publication, you have to follow publication ethics. And as I told you, we are working for the medicine and healthcare stream. This is not a narrow thing, it's a very wide thing. Sometimes we might be working with the clinicians, sometimes we might be working with the statisticians, sometimes we might be working with the management, sometimes we might be working with the subject experts, doctors, regulatory experts. So there are a lot more projects that we are going to handle. So whichever project we are handling, we and that people has to work in hand, and our motto is to bring a top quality of document which is easily understandable. That is our final motto. And being a medical writer, I can't say, okay, so you asked me to convert the document. No, so I'll be doing the conversion in whatever way I would like to, and I'll be giving you the simpler document. I can't say that, guys. I can't do whatever I would like to. So what should I do? At every phase of medical writing, we'll be given certain rules, we'll be given certain regulations, we'll be given certain guidelines. So we have to follow all the rules, we have to follow all the regulations, we have to follow all the guidelines, and we can't change the given content, we can't change the given format, we can't change the given structure of the document. So by following all the rules and regulations and without changing the content, without changing the format of the document, without changing the structure of the document, we need to do the conversion. Okay, so the team and we has to work in hand, and we need to support each other. So what kind of document they need, they'll be asking us. And if we had any technical or non-technical queries on the document, we'll be discussing with the team and we'll clear our questions. And then we are doing the conversion. So that's what the process happened. And moving on to the different types of medical writers. There are different types of medical writers. Okay. One is like regulatory medical writer who is working. The second one is regulatory medical writing. And third one is medical marketing writing. So this, all the medical writers, the different forms of medical writers were being divided into three categories. One is regulatory, second one is educational, third one is medical marketing. So by the name itself, we'll get to know like, okay, so this regulatory medical writer is the person who is working for the regulatory authority. Educational medical writer is the person who is dealing with the educational content. And this medical marketing might be a person who is involved in the marketing. So yeah, yes, you're correct. But in a broader way, let us have a look onto the different types of medical writers. So moving on to the regulatory medical writer. So as the name suggests, dealing in writing documents related to the regulatory authority. So there are a lot more regulatory authorities. For single country, there is one regulatory authority, and for a group of nations, there is having another regulatory authority. So what is the regulatory authority of India, guys? If you're working in India, what is the regulatory authority of India? Yes, some other
CDSU.
very good. CDSCO, right? So Central Drug Standard Control Organization. In the same way, if you're working in USA,
FDA.
FDA, very good.
And
So
FDA.
yeah, US FDA. So in the same way, a country or a group of countries were having a regulatory agencies, and if you're working under that particular country, you have to follow that regulatory agencies rules and regulations. So in India, for example, we'll take a simpler example. We'll go with the regulatory affairs in the evening session. So this particular regulatory medical writing is there. So if you want to get a permission for conducting the clinical trial, or if you want to get a permission for marketing a drug or a device or a biological, you have to follow this particular regulatory authority, which is CDSCO's rules and regulations for getting the approval from them. Without their approval, you can't do any clinical trial, or you can't develop a product, or you can't sell the product. Okay. So for getting this permission from the regulatory agency, we need to submit the documents, which we call it as regulatory documents. So some regulatory documents you have to submit before the clinical trial. Some regulatory documents you have to submit during the clinical trial. And some regulatory documents you have to submit after the clinical trial periodically. Okay, whenever they're asking, we have to submit the documents. So for the permissions that you would like to get. So when you are writing this regulatory documents, as I told you, we have to follow all the rules and regulations and the guidelines issued by the regulatory authority. And what does this regulatory documents generally contain? They'll contain, like, when the drug is moving from phase 1 to phase 2, phase 2 to phase 3, phase 3 to phase 4, a lot more data will be generated. Patient data, quality data, safety data, efficacy data, population related data. Okay. And clinical information, non-clinical information regarding the case study or case report, informed consent forms, protocols. Okay, so all these documents we'll be submitting to the regulatory authority, so that we'll be getting an approval. So these documents, they have to be written in a clear way. They have to be written in a quality way. They have to be written in a standard way, so that the person who is applying for the permission will get an easy approval, because the reviewer who is reviewing the documents can easily understand, and for the person who is applying, he'll be getting an approval. So the person who is writing, the medical writer who is writing the document as per the needs of the reviewer, as per the rules, as per the regulations, is called as regulatory medical writer. He'll be working for the clients. He'll be preparing the documents on behalf of the clients, and he'll be submitting the documents, and the client will be getting the approval. Understood? Yes? Is that clear about the regulatory?
Yes.
Okay, so he's preparing the regulatory documents and submitting to the regulatory authority on behalf of client, and client is getting an approval for conducting the clinical trial or selling the product. Okay?
For more details, connect us on given details on screen. And don't forget to follow us on our social media. Thank you.